Pictures of the USS Fitzgerald below the waterline, proving once again that the story that they are putting out is not accurate. Not even close. And just a basic visual inspection can tell you this. Now, the simple fact that they needed to spend 3.5 weeks to put this giant welded patch over all of the damage to prevent anyone from doing any kind of an independent visual assessment of it should speak volumes to what really happened that night. This would have taken an incredible amount of effort to put a patch of this size on underwater. And the idea that they needed to do all of this work just to move this from one side of the port to the other side of the port for dewatering and defueling exercises. This hole was, I've heard reports 30 by 40, 40 by 60. It was in the port of Yemen, and the water was inside that hole. This was partially below, partially above the water line. That no patches were needed here whatsoever. And they took this thing as it was from the port all the way out to the heavy lift ship, which was in fairly deep water. It had to be. It's a heavy lift ship. And then transited this thing all the way across the ocean back to the U.S. with no patches, no underwater welding teams of any kind. And remember what they're saying, folks. Remember the story. They are saying that the damage here that you are looking at, the USS Cole, from the bombing in 2000 with 700 pounds of high explosives, they are saying this damage is less traumatic to the ship than the damage that they covered up with this hole, this 14 by 17 patch. But they missed some things. They really did, and we're going to scroll down to a couple other pictures, and we're going to cover that. Now here is the damage above the waterline as lined up with the damage below the waterline. Well, the first thing that you can see right there is that if this were really some kind of an oblique angle strike, this doesn't match up for that. It absolutely does not match up for that. If this truly was the damage, both of these damages happened simultaneously from the same ship, the Fitz would have had to have been dead in the water, and that container ship would have had to have been smoking. I mean moving for a container ship to do this kind of damage. Because remember, the Admiral, when he stopped himself, said, to get that kind of a puncture, you would need to... And then he stopped himself. And then somebody tapped him on the arm and they changed the subject. Because even he knew. And way back in my first video, I said, well, actually my third video, said that the closer you get to the time of an event, the closer to the truth you're going to get. The more time people have to cook up stories, the less likely what they're saying is going to be true. That's why when police do investigations on scene, they start questioning right away, and they get people trying to tell them what happened immediately. They don't let them wait and try to cook up stories between themselves. And that's why the Navy had to have this be just between the Navy and the Coast Guard. They couldn't have the Japanese looking into this. They couldn't have the Filipinos looking into this, because they would start asking questions. And they would have investigators saying, wait a minute, this person said this person said that, this timing is off, this isn't right. The Navy has it all in one tiny little group now that have access to this information. And they said they would be issuing summaries of the things that they have uncovered from the debriefing of the crew. But one more picture here. And I think we can... Oh, wait, let's go back here. I wanted to cover something. Look over here. That looks like Scorching. Right there, where I'm circling. That looks like there's also evidence of lighter Scorching around here, and even down and over here. It looks like there was a whole bunch of Scorching, and it looks like they may have taken some kind of a sandblaster or some kind of a high-pressure water jet system to the side of this thing to try to remove that. and thought they did a good enough job that it would pass muster. Because other than here at the channel, their lies have passed right through the mainstream media. This is USNI. I haven't seen anybody even covering this as just a, world information piece. And it's, we can rule out that more than likely this was not the result of a railgun strike below the water, because there would be no scorching, because you don't need propellants and you don't need explosives. But look at this scorching here. Look at that black mark right there. And let's go back and let's look at the coal. Look at this black mark right here. Now look at the upper part over here, and you can see all where the residue of the blast went upward here. Now let's go back here and let's look at this, and let's look at it closer. As you can see, there is remnants of that all around up here, but they have taken a great deal of effort to scrub this. And you can see where there at one time, look how much lighter this part of the ship is than up here. They have taken some kind of either a chemical or high pressure sprayer to try to remove all that, and they couldn't do it here for some reason. Maybe this little white thing had something to do with it. It affected it somehow and didn't allow it to penetrate the way that it would have. Even up here, look up here, even in this lighter, this is scorching. And there would have been no scorching if this were the result of a collision. So, I don't know. It's going to be up to you folks down in the comments. I wish I had some kind of a general frame of reference to get a size on this. There were some people standing down here in this other photo, but you can't use this with that other photo because it's a different perspective. So, anyway, really appreciate the conversation. It looks like we're going to have a lot more to talk about going forward now, that we now can have evidence from above and below the waterline and relative positioning. So like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.